I will be fluent. I will be fluent. I will be fluent.
Are you sure about that? Do you even know what fluency means?
Of course, it means speaking English perfectly. Well, it definitely means speaking without making any grammar mistakes. No way. Well, what does fluency mean? Well, if you think that fluency means being a perfect speaker, then you will no doubt get frustrated and feel like giving up each time you get something wrong or when you meet someone who speaks English better than you do. But by understanding what fluency is, you will realize that there's more to speaking English than simply being accurate. So in today's lesson, we'll look at what fluency actually is and how it differs from accuracy. Then we'll look at how you can identify whether you're fluent. And finally, we'll do a quiz to see whether you're able to spot the difference between accuracy and fluency. But before we get started, if you would like to join our community of over 370,000 learners, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell down below so you never miss out on any of our new lessons. Well, fluency refers to how well you can communicate your thoughts and ideas, as opposed to how many mistakes you make in grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. This means being able to speak at normal speed, similar to how you would in your native language, with few pauses and without struggling to come up with new words or phrases. It's important to understand that a person who is fluent may not always be 100% accurate, but they will still be generally understood. For example, if you struggle to pronounce the TH sound, or perhaps you don't remember all phrasal verbs, this does not mean that you're not fluent. So I mentioned accuracy a few moments ago, and this is because many learners confuse accuracy with fluency. Accuracy means being able to correctly use the language in terms of grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. Accuracy, for example, is your ability to use the correct verb tense form, for example, past, present, future tense, and your ability to use the correct articles, an, a, the, or even the correct preposition, in, on, at, over. If your goal is to master English, then you should focus on both fluency and accuracy, but they're not the same thing. So how can you identify whether you're fluent? Well, we'll help you with that. Although fluency is sometimes hard to measure, if you're able to answer yes to these 5 questions, then your fluency level might be higher than you realize. And don't worry if you answer no to any of them, because we'll share some tips on how you can advance your fluency. Can you think in English without translating all the time? It's okay if you're not able to remember the exact word all the time, but you should be able to explain or describe it. So this morning I went to a cafe and I ordered a coffee, and I was really surprised when the waiter brought it in a really big, it's like a cup but bigger, and it usually has a slightly different shape. At this point, the person you're speaking to might be like, do you mean a mug? And you could be like, yeah, exactly, a mug. Another method you could try is image association. Do you remember at the beginning of your language learning journey, you probably associated new words in English with a similar equivalent in your native language? Now, instead of doing that, try associating new words with an image or a feeling instead. Do you feel that you are able to be yourself in English? Or do you feel that you're unable to show your full personality or your intelligence when you speak English? Being able to do this is a major win. Again, this doesn't mean speaking English perfectly. It means that you're comfortable enough to be who you are and that you realize that speaking English is just a tool for communication. For example, if you're naturally funny in your native language, you want to be able to use your sense of humor in English as well. In this case, it might help to have a speaking partner. This way you could practice telling jokes or simply just being yourself in English. This is one of the many benefits of using our RealLife English app. This is the only place where anytime, anywhere, at the press of a button, you can connect with English learners from around the world. You can have fascinating conversations about your life, your culture, your passions, even the weather if you want. This will take you from feeling like a lost and insecure English learner to being a confident and natural English speaker. So download it now for free by clicking up here or down in the description box below, or simply search for Real Life English in your favorite app store. Are you able to jump from one topic to another as you would in your native language? Of course, there might be some topics that you have a hard time with even in your native language, and so it's okay if you cannot speak about them in English. It's also good to know that there's such a thing as situational fluency, which means that we might be able to speak about certain topics more fluently because we're exposed to them more often. For example, if I love gaming and I spend a lot of time reading and talking about games, then of course my gaming vocabulary might be a lot better than other subjects that I'm not interested in. So it helps to expose yourself to as many topics as you feel comfortable with. Also, use little expressions like and when you're thinking about what to say. When you're transitioning between topics, use phrases like speaking of or I forgot to mention. Are you able to understand most podcasts, movies, and TV series in English without subtitles or transcripts? If you're able to do this, it shows that your comprehension skills, your ability to make sense of the language is really good. You need to remember that fluency isn't only about speaking. It involves reading, listening, and making sense of the language. We need to be able to understand information in order to communicate well. For example, when you're watching a movie or TV series, do you usually understand what is happening in a scene based on the context or situation, or perhaps the words the characters are using? Or do you find yourself feeling lost without subtitles? If you'd like to understand TV series and movies without relying on subtitles, then I definitely recommend you check out this lesson Ethan and Andrea did a while back. Are you able to notice when you make a mistake in English? What I mean is, even if you cannot explain why or you're not sure what the grammar rule is, you just intuitively know that it doesn't sound right. Perhaps you listen to a lot of English podcasts or audiobooks, or you watch English movies and TV series. Whatever it is, you have internalized the language structure and you understand the grammar on a deeper level. And since you're aware of your mistakes, it's easier for you to find a solution and fix them. If you're not able to identify your own mistakes yet, don't worry. This comes with time, deliberate practice, and exposure. You also don't have to spend hours each day learning grammar rules. Simply focus on one area of grammar for a certain amount of time. Then move on to the next and the next until you feel confident when it comes to English grammar. Writing is also a great way to practice your grammar. So try writing as often as you can. And why not try writing the way that you speak? Then use an app like Grammarly to check your writing. This will help you identify grammar points that you can improve on. Speaking of grammar, let's do a quick quiz to see if you're able to spot the inaccuracies in these sentences. I will eat pizza for dinner and drank orange juice. I will eat pizza for dinner and drank orange juice. Will eat is a future tense verb, and drank is a past tense verb. Since the dinner is going to happen in the future, it's not possible that someone drank the juice already. So the correct sentence would be, I will eat pizza for dinner and drink orange juice. I don't want no pudding. I don't want no pudding. Although we might understand what the speaker means in terms of accuracy, double negatives are considered poor grammar. Technically speaking, since two negatives cancel each other out, by saying, I don't want no pudding, you're technically saying that you do want pudding. So the correct sentence would be, I don't want any pudding, or I don't want pudding. I fed all her fish and then cleaned its tank. I fed all her fish and then cleaned its tank. In this sentence, it takes the place of the plural phrase, all of her fish. It should be a plural pronoun, as in, I fed all of her fish and then cleaned their tank. What reason did he come here for? What reason did he come here for? Another common grammar mistake is ending a sentence with a preposition. A preposition, by its nature, indicates that another word will follow it. In casual conversation, this type of error is no big deal, but you should try to avoid this in your writing. The sentence should be, for what reason did he come here? Don't worry if you found this lesson a little challenging. You can always play this lesson again until you're able to easily find all the mistakes. To recap, ask yourself these 5 fluency questions. Can you think in English without translating all the time? Do you feel that you are able to be yourself in English? Are you able to jump from one topic to another as you would in your native language? Are you able to understand most movies, TV series, or podcasts in English without subtitles or transcripts? Are you able to notice when you make a mistake in English? Also, if you have any questions about today's lesson, then head on over to our Instagram at reallife.english. Check out our stories every Monday and Friday. You'll find a question box where you can share any thoughts or questions that you have about today's lesson. If you enjoyed today's lesson, then be sure to check out this one next. Hey real lifers, so I just got to work and I was about to start my tasks when I realized I haven't signed in yet. So to sign in means to insert a username and password in order to gain access to a device, such as your computer or your phone. You could also use the word login. So sign in and log in have the same meaning. Now that I've organized my tasks, I'm going to start working on an urgent project that my boss assigned to me.